What on earth is that? Is what I heard out of the back seat of our rented GMC Yukon. Well, I knew what it was. We had just turned out of the canyon and onto the valley floor, driving north. I didn't answer the question. I grabbed our radio and I called out to the rest of the cars and said, "Hey, I think we've got a sandstorm coming up from the southwest, about 20 miles behind us. Looks like it's coming in pretty fast." And at that point, I heard a choir of, "Oh shit," going on through the car. And so I waited just a few seconds for the response, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. "I think you're right. I think it is a sandstorm." That's so cool. And you have to ask yourself a question. Who thinks a large sandstorm barreling down upon them when they're in a convoy of vehicles is particularly cool? We weren't military individuals who were trained for such an excursion. We weren't novices either. We were a different breed. We were outdoorsy. We were nerdy. We were college geology students. And the person who was calling out, "That's so cool," was in fact our faculty member who was so excited that we were getting to witness geologic processes firsthand. Now, a few days prior, I got to do a presentation on the floor of Death Valley. That's where we were, on Badland Basin, which I believe is 282 feet below sea level. I was only at about 250 feet below sea level, so I still had place to sink. But I was standing there, the temperature was 119 degrees, the air was dead still, and I thought to myself, this is both cool, only figuratively, and really, really unbearable. I could not think of a place that was more oppressive at the time, knowing that they existed. But the thing that happens when you ask that question is Mother Nature inevitably hears you and it says, "I'll show you what's more oppressive tomorrow." So as the sandstorm barreled down upon us, we all thought it was really, really cool, but we all collectively agreed that it might be a good idea to find a little bit more space in that accelerator pedal so we could get back to camp while we still had tents. So what we did was we floored it, we made it back to camp, because there's a few things you learn when you're getting your geology degree. In the intro classes, they teach you that it's best to buy your house at the top of a hill because flooding is a real and dangerous thing. If you think you can drive through standing water, don't try it. Hydroplaning is really easy. And the thing that we were further confirmed that day was you can do a lot of things with Mother Nature, but you can't outrun her. Eventually that leash is going to get taut and you're going to be overcome. So it's always best to be prepared. So that's what we did. We tried to prepare our tents as best we could, shoveling more stand over the tie-in points, putting weight in all the corners. The road bikers who were laughing at our small tents the day before were very upset that their large, luxurious tents were acting like sails in the wind. And at about that point, when all the hatches were battened down, we stood there and the sand started to pelt us. And at first it felt wonderful because it was this alive experience. I was a geology student who got to literally sit through a sandstorm in Death Valley, and at about 30 seconds in, it stopped becoming wonderful and just felt like I was being sandblasted at an auto shop. So we did the only thing that we could do. We turned to the only solid structure within sight, which was across the street, and we headed there as fast as we could, wrapped up in as many different layers so that our bodies wouldn't sting. We opened the door, and in classic geology fashion, we ordered a drink at the bar. We managed to have a bar right across from our campsite, and as I ordered my double pour of scotch, the Scottish professor gave me a nod, approving both my driving skills and my drink choices. And I sat there and reflected on how many cool things I got to witness thanks to my choosing of this degree, that we were getting to choose and see all of these geologic processes live. So I finished my drink and I realized how wonderful I am to have such a solid education. I also realized I had to steel myself to run back to the tent that I had to sleep in that night. Contemplated a second drink, I did not get it, ran back to my tent, and finally fell asleep. I woke up to an eerie silence that kind of already spoke to a beauty that I was about to see outside of that tent. Inside of the tent, I had an inch of sand covering me, so less beautiful there, but I opened that tent flap and I looked outside and I saw a beautiful sunset, or sunrise. Clouds painted across the sky, sun gleaming down through, covering a layer of sand that was freshly applied to dunes that were older than anybody that I've ever seen. And I realized that Mother Nature is beautiful, and that's another tenet that I can learn and take from that degree in geology, even under these tumultuous conditions. So I learned you should never take schist for granted. Thank you.